Hello and welcome everyone to this Sociology Practice Free Test Series, test number 20. Here we have two questions to discuss. Question number one is about application of historicity in the works of Karl Marx and Max Weber. Now, when we look at the works of both of these scholars, we do see something unique here. One of those unique aspects is this application of history or historicity as we understand in the works of both of these scholars. Say, for example, I'm starting my discussion with Karl Marx. What do I see? When we are looking at the discussion of Karl Marx, his primary methodology is of dialectical materialism, as we understand. From the Hegelian dialectical idealism, Marx developed his understanding of dialectical materialism. What is it? It talks about a dominant material condition in the society called thesis, and an antithesis to this thesis, that is an material condition which is against the dominant material condition. So the haves and the have-nots, commonly that we understand, and a clash between the two, right? That is the dialectics between the two. When this clash or the conflict arises, the thesis and the antithesis, they both change their form and a new material condition emerges called synthesis. This conflict and the resultant change out of this conflict, the dialectical materialism, the method of dialectical materialism, Marx would use it to analyze the whole of human history. Marx would divide the stages of human history. He would be discussing about 5 stages grossly. In between, he would also talk about a missing link, one stage, which is a missing link, Asiatic mode of production. Let me analyze all of these stages. Marx would say that the first stage of human history is primitive communism. What is primitive communism? Hunting-gathering society, where people, they are living as such in harmonious relationship. Men are going for hunting, women are going for gathering. They are, at the end of the day, they are collecting all the resources, the food items together, and then they're equitably distributing the food among themselves. Right? That's hunting-gathering society. Marx calls this primitive communism. Why? He says that grossly in such a society, discrimination or differentiation between people did not exist. Now, I don't know whether it existed or not, but that's the idea of Karl Marx. Then Marx says that even in such a society, by the end of this kind of society, we see some involuntary changes to happen. Involuntary, they are not voluntary changes. They happened on their own and they impacted human history. Say, for example, human beings, they learned to light fire. They learned to sharpen their tools. They learned about agriculture. So technological changes I'm looking at. And as a result of these technology changes, availability of food increased. When people, they started using sharpened weapons, they became more skilled hunters. When human beings, they learned about agriculture, the availability of food increased through agriculture. When the availability of food increased, naturally, the population proportion also started increasing. So all of these changes, Marx calls them as involuntary changes. And he says that because of these involuntary changes, the primitive communist society would change into the first historic stage, that is the ancient mode of production or the ancient society. He also called it the slave society, right? Masters and slaves. Subsequently, he says that a thesis, that is the masters, the dominant material condition, and the antithesis, that is the slaves, the have-nots, they would clash with each other, and because of dialectics, a new system would emerge, a new social status would emerge, that is feudal mode of production. Again, we are looking at a dominant material condition called feudal lords, and their antithesis, the serfs or the agriculturists, the farmers, peasants. They would again clash, and as a result, the change would emerge. And through this change, we are looking at a new stage of human history called capitalist society. Now, in between ancient mode of production and primitive communism first stage, and then the second stage, ancient mode of production or ancient society, lies a missing link called Asiatic mode of production. Marx was talking about India, right? Anyway, and then subsequently he says that there is also future, that is a socialistic mode of production. In this whole discussion, what he was doing, he was trying to analyze human history by applying his methodology of dialectical materialism. And this is the understanding of historical materialism. So essentially, what are we looking at? We are looking at how Marx is trying to understand or analyze human history using his methodology of dialectical materialism, right? So that's the application of historicity in the works of Marx. On the other hand, if we talk about Weber, Max Weber, Max Weber took a pride in calling himself a historian. We today, we recognize him as a sociologist, but neither was he trained as a sociologist, nor he referred himself as a sociologist. In his own eyes, he was a historian, right? A historian who was studying more about the society of that present times of Max Weber. But this does not mean that he was not looking at history. If we look at his discussion of Protestant ethics and spirit of capitalism, or Calvinistic ethics and spirit of capitalism, whichever name you know the theory by, when I'm looking at this theory, the very rise of this theory happens in the comparative analysis of Max Weber, where he was comparing 7 major world religions of the Orient and religions of the Occident. He was looking at the Protestant religion, which in his opinion was the religion of the Occident, that is the West, and the religion of the Orient, religions of the Orient. In that, he also includes Catholic Christianity, Catholic form of Christianity. He talks about Islam, Judaism, or Jewish religion. He talks about Hinduism, Buddhism, and even Confucianism of China, right? So he was looking at all these 6 religions, which he referred to as the religions of the Orient, and the 7th religion, that is the Protestant ethics, that is the religion of the Occident. When he was looking at the religions of the Orient, he was considering them to be features of the past society, the previous society, right? So here as well, we are looking at his application of historicity. Clear? Yes, I do admit that Weber was fascinated about rationality, and he was trying to find rationality in the religion of the Occident, that is in Protestant religion. But the very rise of the idea starts from history, from the historic comparison of the 7 major world religions, right? So in the works of both of these scholars, this is one commonality that we are looking at, that they both have been looking at history, application of history. At the same point of time, there also lies a difference. What kind of difference? I'm looking at, say, the analysis of Marx. Marx is trying to analyze the whole human society. When he is applying historical materialism, he is trying to understand the historicity of the whole human society, human evolution, to be more precise. Weber, on the other hand, he is looking at application of historicity with respect to the small institutions within the society, say religion, right? He's not looking at the whole human society, no. He's looking at the individual institutions within the society. So Weber's application is far more micro in that sense, and Marx was far more macro. He went for macro level application of the historicity, right? So that's the difference that exists there as well. So this was the first question that we had. The second question was about social action, the discussion of social action in the works of Max Weber and Talcott Parsons. Now, before I go for this discussion, let me tell you 2 things here. Number one, we have been lagging behind in certain sense in with respect to preparing these videos. Given the schedule I have been going through, or the classes I have presently, as a result of that, I've not been very regular in preparing these videos. So I'm really sorry for that. The other thing is we are coming up with a test series come mentorship program. Test series based mentorship program. It's not test series come mentorship program. It's actually test series based mentorship program, where we would be discussing the concepts on the prior hand, right? In the online mode only. There would be live classes, live online classes, where we would be discussing these theories, thinkers, and a number of important areas of the syllabus, important areas of the sociology syllabus. Those which we consider as crux areas, especially the thinkers, comparative analysis of the thinkers of both paper 1 and paper 2. At the same point of time, stratification, family, marriage, kinship, politics and society, religion and society, social change, right? Those kind of areas, we are going to take them up and we are going to discuss those things. So there would be the component of class as well. And at the same point of time, taste, and discussion of the tastes, right? So it's a holistic program starting from the month of December, 27th or 28th of December. By the end of December, we are starting with this program, and it will go until end of March. By end of March, the program will be over. Obviously, after prelims, we'll be organizing some uh, mock tests, full mocks on the whole of the syllabus for those students who will be joining this particular test series. Okay. So obviously the full mocks would also be there, but after prelims, not before prelims. Intentionally, we would not be bothering you for the month of April and May. Those 2 months would be you would be left free. You prepare for your prelims properly, and then after prelims, we'll be organizing the full mocks. Okay. So if you want to join this course, this is a paid course. This is not going to be a free course. Obviously, you can understand there will be class components, and at the same point of time, the test series and everything as such. So obviously, there will be a paid component in this respect. The phone number to contact us and to discuss about this is given below in the discussion. In the description, you can easily check for the description and get a phone number from there, and you can contact us. Okay. Now let me go back for the second question. The second question talks about uh, this social action theory or discussion of social action in the works of both Max Weber and Tucker Parsons. See, Max Weber is the first one to talk about social actions. Weber, he is the first one to talk about value-free sociology. Okay. Weber was trying to highlight the notion that a sociological researcher, a student of sociology, should at every cost try to avoid values. The values ingrained in the sociological researcher or in the student of sociology should not be contaminating the studies of the sociological researcher or the student of sociology. So he was trying to avoid value contamination. And how to do that? He said that there can be two particular methods through which we can go for removing the value contamination. They are the application of the methodology of ideal type and the methodology of Verstehen. Verstehen means understanding the actor's perspective. Literally, the meaning of the term Verstehen, the German term Verstehen, is understanding. But Weber was talking about understanding the actor's perspective. What is the actor's point of view? Why the actor was doing something, right? So here, Weber was essentially talking about the social action committed by a social actor, right? And he told us that yes, we, the students of sociology, we should not try to understand from our point of view. No, because our point of views are quite often than not value laden. So what should we do? We should go and ask the actor that if the actor has done something, why did he or she did that thing? What motivated them to do that thing? Right? To discuss this, Weber gave us the idea of social action. He said that any social actor is guided or motivated by four types of social actions, right? Zoic rational, that is goal-oriented social action, word rational, value-oriented social action, emotional, and traditional, right? So Weber says that these are the four motivations behind any social action. These motivations, they influence the social actor and make the social actor commit a particular social action, commit a particular type of social action. Good. So Weber says if that be the case, fine, you go ahead. You just try to understand. You talk to the social actor, try to understand what was the motivation behind the social action of the social actor. Good. Tackle Parsons in 1928, he would try to study Weber. He's the first English scholar or English speaking scholar or a scholar from English speaking world who would go to Germany, learn German and try to study Max Weber. Talcott Parsons is the first scholar who would translate Max Weber into English, right? These German terms which I was using, Verstehen, Zweck-rational, Wort-rational, these terms, while translating Weber into English, intentionally Talcott Parsons left them as they were. Okay, so naturally, he's the first scholar from the English-speaking world who studied Max Weber. Now, while studying Max Weber, Talcott Parsons said that, see, Weber's discussion of social action, Weber used it as an elaborative tool or as an explanation of his methodology of Verstehen. He didn't develop the theory of social action in that sense. Talcott Parsons will do that. He'll start his discussion from human behavior. He'll say that if there are particular some criteria visible, say investment of energy, an objective to achieve a goal occurring in a situation, there should be chain of actions following. One action should be followed by another action. These kind of aspects are, if they're happening, if they are there, right? If the social actor is fulfilling all these conditions, or the human behavior is fulfilling all these conditions, it's no more a human behavior, it is a social action now. It has to be meaningful, it has to be targeted towards achieving a goal, and these kind of 4 criteria. Okay, right? So he says given these criteria, these 4 criteria, a human behavior becomes a social action. He doesn't stop there. Now he starts talking about the motivations behind the social action. He says there can be goal, rational motivation, right? And at the same point of time, value orientation, goal orientation and value orientation. Within the goal orientation, he talks about objective goal orientation, objective motivational orientation, then that is cognitive, then cathetic, then emotional. Similarly, he also talks about the 3 subtypes within value orientation, right? So he talks about 2 types, and within the 2 types, he talks about 6 subtypes of orientations, which instigate, which motivate a particular social actor to do the social actions. He carries forward. He says, while doing the social action, any social actor might face dilemma, 5 sets of dilemma, pattern variable. He further carries on. He talks about how the social actions lead to the chain of social actions. They lead to formation of social structure through their institutionalization. So he started his discussion from human behavior and went on till discussing social structure. And all of these within his discussion of social action. Looking at this broad spectrum of his discussion, it would be C. Wright Mills, who was the head of the Department of Sociology in Harvard University at that point of time, who would call this discussion of social actions by Talcott Parsons as the grand theory. So you can easily understand what kind of discussion Talcott Parsons did. It was not a one-off like Weber. He practically developed a holistic theory of social action, right? So yes, essentially they were talking about social action. They both talked about the motivation behind social action. But then Weber's discussion was very minuscule in nature and incomplete in nature, because Weber was not originally focusing on the idea of social action. He was using social action to elaborate his idea of Verstehen. Whereas Talcott Parsons, he discusses social action as a theory itself. So it's far more comprehensive in nature, right? So these are the two particular questions which we asked, and the idea behind these 2 questions, or the idea behind the 2 answers of these 2 questions, right? Hope I've been able to elaborate the concepts in front of you properly. Go through the model answers as well, right? And please try to improve accordingly, right? That's all, guys. That's all for today's discussion. Thank you. Thank you.